Pam, when is a good time to start your personal brand? Is it when you're 5, when you start a YouTube channel?
I was actually hosting a webinar, but I'll call it a conversation because I prefer to look at it as a conversation. I was hosting a graduate conversation, and um, the question I asked everyone before we started, we're talking about personal branding, is do you have a personal brand? And um, there was a group that definitely said yes, and then there was a group that said no, they didn't, and there was a maybe. And for those who said they didn't have a personal brand, I think one or two of them, it was a group of about 10 in this conversation, and one of them said she has a personal brand, but she's just not ready to put it out. She's not ready to launch it yet. And it was such an interesting conversation. And towards the end of that section, they all then realized that they have personal brands, and everybody has a personal brand. So there's no launch date, there's no perfect time, there's no need for perfection or planning. You have a personal brand. It's just whether you're deliberate about it or not. And so, if you haven't been deliberate about it and you go into your workspace, you put your head down and you just do what you need to do, you're still communicating a message. And that's what your personal brand is saying about you. If you are someone who's intentional and knows that when you in your graduate program, this is the right opportunity for you to meet with people for coffees, virtual coffees, really wanting to learn and wanting to grow, showing curiosity. You are communicating a message, and your personal brand is being communicated. If you are on LinkedIn and you're sharing posts about certain topics, if you're commenting on them and you're not the one who actually posted them, you're still communicating. Your personal brand is still communicating. So you might have an empty profile with no picture. Your personal brand is still visible to people. It might not be highly visible, it might not be trending, it might not be seen by most people. But if you apply for an opportunity and you don't have a picture on your LinkedIn profile, you don't have a headline, you never share anything, you forgot to write what you're studying, you're still communicating something about your brand. You're communicating you're not ready to be engaged with. And so, when is the perfect time to launch your brand? It's already live. So the question is, when is the right time to be deliberate about your brand? And that's now. Especially if you have goals for yourself, if you see yourself going somewhere, if there's people you want to engage with, or that you need to engage with to get to the next level, then you should start being more deliberate about your personal brand.
I love that, Pam. Becoming deliberate about your personal brand. And I love that you unpacked the different elements around that. So, the way that you show up in a graduate program is already speaking about your character, about your ability to work, about your willingness to engage with people. And I definitely see a link between being intentional about building your personal brand and also being intentional about building your social network. So,
Mm,
something else that we noticed in the university space is that first generation professionals, which means that their families were not in the white collar space, those children were much less likely to be able to get work because obviously if you know people in certain industries, then you're more likely to be able to access opportunities in that space. But if you don't, that's what's being closed off. So growing that social capital is so important. And so with all of the work that we do with our university clients, we definitely include how to build your network, how to be able to, as you said, becoming intentional about building your brand while on campus, because some of the
mm,
best relationships are built on campus that last lifetimes. I mean, we know in South Africa, there's examples of companies that have started from alumni of universities because they had an idea, they connected with like-minded people, and they build their businesses and their lives based on those relationships. So